All right. Wow. What a week. What a week. What a week. What a week 13 was in our class and in the world. I will tell you that I volunteered um, in the elections headquarters here in Fresno on Wednesday. And for about 4 hours, it wasn't very much, but it was enough to give me a sense of what that process takes. And I'll tell you, I think it's like, I think of, and the idea. I always say this, like, I'm not advocating one party or the other. I think it's more about democracy and our participation. Like, here's what I say: democracy is not a participation sport. It's not a. I messed that up totally. Democracy is not a spectator sport. It's a participation of sport, right? So you got to participate. And the good news is a higher percentage of people participated in this particular election than we've seen in a long time. So that's good, right? And yet I understand why it's caused definitely some tension, both in myself, in the world, in people I know. So, you know, as we're sitting here on Friday of week 13, as it's passing us into week 14, I think we'll know hopefully soon, maybe even today, maybe tomorrow, maybe even next week. But I think my point is that it just takes time, as does creating something. So switching it back to code, switching it back to what we're doing, right? So does creating a meaningful output uh, for your what you did for Dev One. So here's what I'd like to say. I saw some really cool stuff and really proud of everyone who submitted work and took the time. I really feel so blessed. And the thing is, and if you didn't hear me say this before, I will say it again. There are better programmers in this class than I am. But we can all learn so much from each other. And really, I think that's a large part of what programming is about, and that's why having classes online that are programming, that are learning to code, learning to develop, learning to write code that has meaningful output. That's a piece I have not figured out how to do something like pair programming. So hey, you have any ideas how we could do that? Like, because I also one of my goals is to make this, because I want to allow flexibility for you during the week, right? So obviously there's due dates for the week. And I've even given, hopefully you know by now, attendance breaks to doing attendance each week, which I am going to continue in the next week. So, just to try to encourage that. But there are things that you have to do every week in this class, but the time at which you work on them is, of course, your own choice. They just have to be done. And you've probably heard me say this, I really only do that to encourage you to do work, because I know me, and I have seen this with enough people to know that we all need due dates to get something done. Sometimes it is the due date, the pressure of the due date, that makes us do something, including me. Okay, I just have to look a little ahead. So, like right now, I'm working on Dev 2, the last one. I've actually got a little bit done. I'm doing mock up, so I'm ahead of you, right, as far as the class goes. So we're moving into week 14. I'm actually going to do release. I've done 15. I'm ready to release 16. I can't believe I already didn't do it. So really, it's only 17 that I need to do, because really, and I said this before, right? And I talked to many of you during your code reviews about this, which is like, what are you thinking? Like, I mean, not that you have to understand what Tkinter does yet, because that's what you're going to learn in the coming weeks. But like, you know what we're doing, which is we're taking the concept from Dev 1 and I'm building a graphical user interface. Or you could change your topic, but let me say this, if you do change, come talk to me. Just so you and I haven't agreed upon. Because the other thing is, some of you took on a bigger project, bigger goals, more complexity. So please come talk to me if you want to kind of put a frame around. Frame's actually a term in Tkinter, but kind of put some arms around what is doable for you to get done. But the thing is true. It's like this with true with anything else. The sooner you work on it, the better. So anyway, I'm excited as we move into this last part. So this week we end the Udemy course. Not end it. There is one section. I already talked about this in the code along, but in this week's Learn Together is really just about getting your feedback, because as we move closer to next semester, I will have to, because here, I'm going to tell you what my thinking is right now. Actually, I might use like up until a certain part where I started to see it go sideways because it was a little dated. But some of the stuff before then, I think Kelly may have made this comment as well. It's like up until then, it was pretty good. There's some good stuff, right? And I loved what you guys did last night, like the whole MVP, like minimum viable product. I saw some great ideas and some good code, right? So that's great. Anyway, my thinking is I'll actually spend a couple weeks covering classes, and then continue depending on your experience of, Tkinter. So anyway, your feedback, really valuable to me. I appreciate it. I'm actually giving you a grade for this part of our course, which is the Udemy course. But just to let you know, right, on the 10th of December, this class, and the thing is, Dev 2, that's its final date. There's no like submitting it and then doing a code review later. It is due, and that code review has to be done. So I'll have I'll have what I did last time with the schedule, probably putting a week from the week before for a schedule for you to sign up to sessions for that as we move a little closer. But really, because we're into week 14 starting next week, that's really only 4 weeks away, from the end. Wow. And it is windy as heck in Fresno today. I'm looking outside and man, things are flipping around. It's always like when it's windy, I always get a little like, I don't know, not stressed. It's just, I think it increases my energy a little bit for some crazy reason. Anyway, I think that's all I had to say today. You want to see what I've done so far? And it's really minimal, but at least it's something. Like, I'm still working on my images, like, for now. Where's my Python? Yeah, I've not got my images open yet, but at least for now, right? I'm using this idea of a frame, right? So for me to play to the game, right, they're going to have to enter something. I'm not doing any validation or anything. They could get by this, but all I did here was I like this idea of frames. You'll see this as we get into there. I'm definitely going to put a colored background. I like black, so I'll probably do that. And then as soon as I hit the button, of course, then it changes, but it's also figuring out how I want to keep that window the same size. I know there's some things, I don't know if he covers it, geography that you can, or there's ways in the frame, like I could make this frame that same size. So now I was just working this morning on looking at the images and having a little bit of time using Pillow. Pillow's the other library that Codemy guy. I like his style. We'll see if you like it. Anyway, that's where I'm at. Our mock-ups we're gonna have in week 16. So week 16, I have you play around with the calendar. In week 15, week 16 is going to be doing a mock-up, kind of what I'm doing here. Week 17 will probably be similar to that, and then we're done. So again, if you didn't hear me say this, my goal is to have everything you need by Thanksgiving, which is only 2 weeks away. Is that right? Is that really right? Can that really be right? That it's only 2 weeks away from here. Let's go look. So I'm going to take this off, put this on. Where are we at here? It usually highlights the week because we're in November, right? Yeah, here we are. Week 13. So 1, 2, okay, 3. Okay, so it's a little further out, but still heading at us. Lickety split. But my goal will have everything to you by here. And actually, what I'll end up doing, so just know, I mean, I'm glad I looked at it here, is that the Learn Together, since it falls on the Thanksgiving, and then that will all fall into the following week, right there. Okay. So, because we're down, the campus is closed for those 2 days, and I try I don't give work during to that, but no, the work is still the same. It just gets forwarded to the next day, so work ahead. And again, week 16 is something that's going to help you work on Dev 1, so it's a good thing. I hope. Anyway, hey, thanks again. I enjoyed this week very much because I got to talk to most of you, and that was really fun for me. And, I'm humbled by the conversations, the openness that I experienced in these code reviews, and I appreciate the feedback. I've gotten such good feedback from students about how they appreciate the time to actually not only look at, but talk about their code or their goals or something else. So, but you can always reach out to me and have these conversations anytime besides code review, but code review is a good time too. All right, peace out.